Alright guys, so I went to locals this weekend and I think it's the first time I've taken the deck without changing it from the previous week. But I felt like it performed quite well, so I just decided to not mess with it, and it worked out fine. I got top 8 again. It was 5 rounds of Swiss, top 8, and then I went X1 in Swiss, lost to Dragon Link Harrison. It was just blowout. Like game 1, he got with my weak hand. I scooped. Game 2, he did full board on Dispel. He scooped. Game 3, he did his suboptimal board, but it was enough with Anti-Spell. And yeah, and then top 8, I messed up. Oh my god, I did a risky play where I should not have risked it, but I was in the moment and I was like, it's gonna work out, and it didn't work out. It involved the ruler mill having to hit Jester, Doppel, Stardust, Destrudo, Jet, any of those cards, and I would have been able to. I would have been okay, but it didn't work out. But anyways, let's go ahead and get straight to the deck. So this is not going to change anytime soon. Triple Stardust Synchron, of course, it's just really good. Triple junk, because you want the ruler mill to be as consistent as possible. So you want to be able to hit these guys alongside the little ones. Doppel Warrior, level 2, just amazing. You guys should know about this by now. So anytime you have like a variation of like these two and him, you're in a good position, because it lets you have a bit of versatility and a bit of resilience, because you prompt the response with here, because like they'll go 2 for 1. Why not interact here? It seems logical, right? Because they're not sure what they're going up against most of the time, because they don't know what your deck does, and that's like the edge that you have as a rogue player. So, so then you go effects, they Ash there. You have so many copies of Junk Synchron, so it's always going to end up in your hand somehow. And if you don't, then that's unfortunate. But more often than not, they let this resolve. Summon Junk, attempt to reborn this guy. They stop the Junk. Okay, that's fine. If they don't, then you get this back. You bring back and have a cool Chaos Ruler play. And then if they stop the Junk, you tribute the Junk, search for Illumination, trigger Doppel, and you do the your Excel line or the speeder play there, which is really nice. And then of course you have your extenders, the little guys that pair up with your synchrons, because you want to be able to have a consistent way to get to speeder, and this is the best way to do so, because this guy pairs with Junk, and this guy pairs with Stardust, and then not only that, they have a bit of synergy with the rest of your deck, especially the Destrudo. Go in second, special Destrudo, have a Yazi play, prompt 2 responses, whether it be droplets on the Yazi, or or just negate the Yazi altogether, and then the float, whether they can deal with the memory or not. Either way, that's 2 interactions, and then you haven't even used your actual engine yet, which is really nice. And then just having the level 1s facilitate Marcher plays, Shaman plays. Same thing with this. There's a cool thing you can do where you special Caligo, go into Destrudo, target him, you make and becomes a 6, and then you make a ruler with him, and you haven't even summoned yet. That's pretty cool. But yeah, so some people cut down on these, but I felt like you have so many synchrons that you need to have them pair with something. So whatever it is you put in, it has to have something similar, or that provides something similar to what these guys provide. Otherwise, you're gonna see inconsistencies, and that's what you want to try to avoid. Because the best thing that you can possibly have as a rogue deck is be more consistent than your opponent. Because whether like the top deck right now, they either have insane consistency or their ceiling is extremely high. So you need to have either or have somewhat close to it. Otherwise, you're just gonna be left behind. And then of course you have one of the best extenders or combo starters that the deck has. Dawnwalker is just insane. Like this with Destrudo is amazing. You discard Destrudo, summon, right? You Destrudo target him, becomes level 2. Then you go ruler play, the sharp ruler, okay. Then you go Baron and you summon Junk, try to pop off. That puts them on 3 hand traps, which is cool. And if they have 3 hand traps, okay, what's playing through that? It's kind of hard, And then there's like a niche plays you can do as well. Special, and then like a special, and then like have a Baron play, or like have like a or even pair it up with your little guys. You have like this and this. You can go straight up into ruler play, but it's a bit more vulnerable if that's the only tuner access you have. So you can go into Baron, and then this revives him, and then you trigger Doppel, and you have an Omni Negate for have the Excel line and protect the Excel line, which is quite nice. And then of course you have your one-ofs, the dreadful one-ofs, the ones you don't really want to draw, but it happens. You know, nothing you can do about that. But if you're not on this tutorial by now, I highly advise you to get on it because it just does so much for the deck. It's not just a level 7 access. It's just, it makes your plays way more versatile, and it basically gives you another chance of opening up this card variation where it's these two and Doppel, because it's essentially the same thing just in a different route. Because this will supplement this will become the tuner engrave, and this will be the one that triggers the junk if they stop your junk, which is really nice, really good. Then you have your shortest trail, you have your jet synchron. She bails you out so much, it's insane. Like, that token is so important, and it's so crucial to your sequence. It's just really good. And then of course the two little guys. I recently went back to this guy since last week because I felt like I needed to have a level 1 to summon off of Speeder, because it just comes up. Like, your combos become really weird without the level 1. And it's not so bad because this guy pairs really well with your Nakijo and your Jester, because you can go into Shaman play or a Marcher play and summon your guys without having to summon, actually like have a Herald before you actually commit to anything. And then the extra deck protection thing comes up so much. It comes up, it's so good. Having that Herald protected is amazing. And then it was like a game versus Sky Striker Brave. It was a simplified game state, and we know that if they have engage and you're simplified, odds are not in your favor. So what he had, I knew he had an engage, and I had a Baron EMC, so I had to like pass, and he goes Afterburners. I was like, oh my god, yes. Banish protect, and then I just negated the engage, and it was over. And of course you have your tunings. This is like a debate whether to play these or not, but I felt like you play so many of the little guys that you want to have the versatility and the consistency to still accomplish what you're meant to be doing, which is get to Speeder as consistent as possible. And the good thing about this one is that it doesn't matter if you open up this and either or, because if you're missing junk, you just if you open up this, then you set junk. If you open up this, you start a synchron, which is really nice. And then that mill makes it a 1-card Speeder. It is real. It's not just a myth. It can happen. And then of course you have your insane overtake. This card we know what this does. This card is just simply amazing. It does amazing things for the deck, because it allows you to have this play where you go special Jester, special junk, and then go Herald, and then summon junk, and then like things like that. It's really cool. Our Dark Wheeler, main deck Dark Wheeler. Okay, so something to consider when picking up this particular build is being okay with not having hand traps to interact with your opponent, because that's something you're gonna beat yourself up over, and you're gonna get tilted over it, because you're gonna be contemplating whether you made the right decision or not. You're like, oh, should I just play hand trap instead? Maybe if I had hand trap, I could stop them. But it's like a vicious, that's insanity, because like it's all variance. The whole point of this particular strategy is to not be in a situation where you interact, like you 1-for-1 interact, and they still end up on 1 or 2 interactions that completely shuts you down, compared to depleting your hand at the minimal amount. This is the 1-card deals with the board. You have 5 or 4 cards, depending on your first or second, to contribute to your combo. Instead of having like 2-3 hand traps, and then having like 1 or 2 engine cards, and then that one engine card, attempt being stopped. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to be in a situation, but of course they both work. You can get away with interacting with hand traps, and then having those 2 or 1 or 3 cards be enough and sufficient enough, because they probably don't just have 1 hand trap, or you open up that card variation, where you have the doppel play. And but yeah, that's something you have to come to terms with when the moment you decide to go with this strategy, because it's meant to be that way. Stay composed. Okay, sometimes you might draw this against a backward deck, and you just have to accept that was the risk you took. But if you go up against a combo deck, you're gonna be like so glad you main deck this, and that's what it ended up doing. I ended up going with that route, and it paid off. So it was good all weekend. And then of course you have your one-ofs. This is insane. Rhoda, Rhoda, Foolish, Shrine. I need to get a secret rare of this one. It just, you know, to match the other secrets. And this is basically a third Destrudo, which is really nice. And then Illumination, of course. And then Reborn. And then of course you have your cards that allow you to fulfill your combo. These okay, so this is good because it just stops Ash, and it's generically like good to reinforce your board, because like it's just something about this card. Like if you have your board and you draw into this, you just feel like extra safe. I don't know why. It's just dealing with graveyard effects just gives you the sense of security that your board for whatever reason just doesn't give you. I'm not sure. I'm not sure it's me, but it's weird. And then Midbreaker just stops Veiler Imperm. Destruction, you know, the Chimera stops the Chimera, which is really nice. Duster and Reboot, it's just because the reason you take this approach is because, once again, you don't want to deplete your hand. You want to have as many cards contribute to your combo as possible, and having a one card do all helps you do that. So this is the same logic with the variants, right? Sometimes you might get this versus the combo deck and you're gonna just be upset about it, but that's the risk you took. But the fact that you have that as an option, that if you do get paired up versus like a backward deck, you do have it as an option, and it's an out to mine, which is huge. Like that's one of the biggest things that I really liked about this, because they think they can deck you out. Already you're at 45. But then again, you draw into your deck, so I guess you're gonna be like kind of low on your deck count. But nonetheless, you have an out, which is cool. And then this one is good because it's good against trap decks and it's good against Imperm, and it gives you a position where you didn't have access to Yazi, because unless they Nibiru'd you, then you don't have access to Yazi, so you can't get the level 1 tokens. But this allows that to happen, because they Imperm you red reboot. It doesn't matter if it's set a card. It doesn't matter because you're gonna Yazi pop it anyways, and that's the good thing about that. And then you can Baron pop the other one, so you don't really mind it, you know. And then it'll be a bonus if you're going against a trap deck, you know. It just nullify everything. And then you have your side deck, right? Antispell, strictly just for Dark Ruler, premature droplets that you can negate because the Herald will be on the board, and Mystic Mine, because they so many times it's happened where they bait, and the last card in their hand is Mystic Mine, and it's like so annoying. Evenly match, it's very like generically just is meant to, like, that's the point of the deck. You want to either deal with a build a board or backward deck. That's just that's what it is, to put it plain and simple. Twisters, Cosmic Cyclone, and of course Tree Droplet. I'm not sure if I want to play Lightning Storm, because it's a bit more versatile. Because Lightning Storm hits this is strictly, you know, back row, whereas Storm can be monsters as well, you know. And then since you're playing like evenly droplets sided, you can take care of everything, you know, because once again you want certainty. You want to be like, oh, hit or miss, like, oh, maybe an Ash Burn Infusion that can stop them, but then you have Super Poly and they stand on Marriage Age, and it's pointless, you know. So it's just one of those things. But I think I might try Lightning Storm because it seems like it should work. X deck, you have your Shaman. These guys are so crucial to the deck. If these guys ever get hit or anything, it's gonna affect the deck way, like, big time. Cupid Pitch, Herald, XL. Hang on. This is meant to be here. XL, Speeder, Drunk Warrior. I mean, only because of Overtake. That's the only reason it's there. Then you have Librarian, Charge. This is like going back and forth whether you play it or not. But I feel like it's essential because it lets you trigger Trail, and the token is just so important so many times to allow you to have like some niche plays and obscure lines that you typically wouldn't have if you just cut this. I mean, yeah, it's just so good. And then Yazi, we already know Yazi. Yazi's been quite the topic lately because it just helps Nibiru. It's going second, helps it. It's so good. Omega, Crystalwing, Chaos Ruler, of course, Hot Red, and then finally the last one that I just recently got, freaking Baron. Oh my god, thank you, Harrison. It's so good. This card's amazing, man. It's just so good. If you can get it, or if you can gradually get towards it, I would highly recommend it. And then of course you have your tokens. Tokens are amazing. Subtle as it might seem, like the fact that it's a double token, it's easy. It's like it's something you don't have to stress about because you know it's a double token. You know it's a Nibiru token. You know it's a memory token. Trust me, as subtle as it might seem, when you're comboing on and you're doing all these sequences, you're like, oh my god, what token is that? You do not want to devote any piece of your mind towards that, and this helps that because it's a double token. Oh, it's a mirror token. It just makes life easier. But yeah, that's basically the deck, and it works fine. Other than that misplay in the beginning where on top 8 when I shouldn't have risked it. Yeah, it was unfortunate. But I was in the zone, man. What you can't blame me. But anyways, that's gonna be it. Hopefully enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe if you haven't, and thanks for watching.